So I'd like to acknowledge the unceded, unsurrendered territory of the Lheidli T'enneh, Theneza, Tekeza, Skyza, elected chiefs, councillors, board members, fellow staff members, and community members. My name is Julie Daum. I'm from the South Side. My mother was the late Irene Daum. My father was the late Bill Daum. My grandparents were the late Julia Morris and the late Jimmy Andrews. I'm a resident of Stalaco and a band member of Wet'suwet'en First Nation. So actually, my little clicker, there we go. Let's actually move back, because I'd like to address the question and comment by Chief Maureen Luggie, is that we definitely are speaking to and working in collaboration with the BC First Nation Justice Centres, and as you'll see in my report that we are developing our own legal services program, but it definitely is, I actually have referred clients to them already in terms of criminal matters, and that we are continuing working with them. I actually had quite a lengthy meeting with them recently, and one of the things that they're interested in doing in collaboration with us is some dispute resolution training that's outside of court, so doing some mediation training so that families in the area can have access to low-cost mediation, because as somebody who grew up on the south side, well aware of the geographical difficulties and the transportation issues that especially families of young children have and experience, and we definitely want to make sure that we have adequate services in all of our communities for all of our members. So like Warner mentioned, we have been actively recruiting lawyers. At this point, we have been talking to 2 lawyers that are really keen to join our team, and that process is continuing. Look for those announcements really soon. We also have engaged a very fresh young lawyer, as Warner mentioned, from one of our member communities, who's just going to get called to the bar soon, and he will be joining our team. And he is super eager and interested in providing a lot of community information sessions. So look for that coming up as well in January. So one of the big first tasks, and I put this on there also to remind me, is that working with communications around our data and file management. So one of the first things that we're going to discuss is how are we going to keep people's information safe? So, and then adding to that is the focus groups, where we'll be assessing and prioritizing community needs around legal services. And so it will be focusing on child and family, child welfare needs, but also looking at family, as we are a holistic organization, in that we can't separate out children from their parents and their legal issues, especially when family law can sometimes get translated into child welfare issues. So definitely on our radar. And I know this is like late in the day, so give yourselves a round of applause for sticking it out this long. And I promise I'm not going to be long. I know the energy is waning a little bit. It's a Friday. So some of the things that I've been working on is the legislative drafting, which you'll see is actually, I'm super loving and proud of this work, because, you know, for years we've been talking about breaking down the silos in CSFS, and this legislative drafting committee that I'm part of encompasses Stephanie and Mabel from jurisdiction, Joni from child safety, Mary from child and family services, the matriarchs, and then now the men's voices and youth as well. So I'm an active part of that committee, and we meet regularly to review and add to the work being done. It is painstaking work, because one of the things is that we really want to make sure that we get it right. And one of our biggest fears is having any gaps that potentially any children or families could fall through, and we really want to make sure that we're not that the work doesn't have any gaps. So it is painstakingly slow work, but it is coming along. I also wanted to mention that one of my other tasks that I don't know why I forgot about, but is chairing the committee for training for the clan houses in the Foundry, and that is just beginning its work. So one of the other programs in my department is Calls to Justice, the Highway of Tears, and the Murdered and Missing Indigenous Women. And I just want to say a word about that whole issue before I tell you what our program has been doing. I was just talking to Joni this morning, and she was saying that she really noticed a marked increase in the amount of missing and murdered and women, and really fueled by the opioid crisis, which we know is fueled by trauma, which is fueled by intergenerational impacts of colonization, including residential schools. And that work remains central to our vision, and it's one of the hardest things that I've ever had to grapple with, especially very recently, knowing that our own community member is missing right now, and it has become a sharp reality to us. And in the meeting yesterday with the Family and Community and Psych, we talked about collaborating within the teams to make sure that we have super clear organizational efforts to help communities and families if this happens. Of course, we'd like it to never ever happen again, but we want to have good plans if we ever need it. And I just want to recognize the work that Psychas First Nation has been doing to support the family of Chelsea Heron. So I'll start with, if you'll see the online report of the AGA, I can't do justice, pardon the pun, to the work of our Calls to Justice team, who are Cassidy Chivera, Michelle Jones, and Kelsey Spears. Cassidy was alone for quite a while and has been an amazing worker to get all of these projects that have been on the books for a while, getting them moving. And the first one is the Pillar Project. And so this really is a project that I think has been close to Mary T.G.'s heart, and I express my gratitude to her for allowing me to take it over and see her vision to fruition. So this is a project where we are planning to build 2 pillars. The first one will be in Prince George. It'll be the Pillar of Hope, and the second one will be in Prince Rupert, the Pillar of Strength. And these pillars are designed to honor and represent in remembrance of the missing and murdered people on this highway, this stretch of highway in northern BC. And we really wanted a place, Mary's vision was having a place where we could go and where families and communities could go to honor these lost loved ones. And so they're not totems, because we want to be respectful of all people's traditions, and not all people are totem pole people. So a beautiful design has been manufactured. We've been working with engineers. There's been a lot of work into this. It's stalled right now because we need money. So we need approximately $1 million for this to come to fruition, and we have a call for donors out. We have a donor package out. So if anybody wants to help us and has connections to people with lots of money to spend, please send them our way. So we have secured the sites, one in Prince Rupert at Cottonwood Park, where there was a site visit and meetings with the people who have made sure that we have the land available to do this. Recently in Prince Rupert, and earlier this fall, I traveled with my team to Prince Rupert to meet the mayor and a representative from Laclawams, who has also held land for us there for the second pillar. Other work that has been going on is that we've been working with the Ministry of Transportation to rename the highway from Prince George to where it ends, which is Haida Gwaii. I always thought it ended in Prince Rupert, but the Haida have reminded us that Highway 16 continues in Haida Gwaii, and they currently also have a missing young woman from their community. But we want to rename this highway from the Highway of Tears to the Highway of Hope. So we currently have a campaign on to do that. We've done a lot of community engagement. I say we, but it's really been Jody Friars, Cassidy Chivera, and Michelle Jones and Kelsey who have been hitting the road. They were out all summer long in farmers markets and other areas, other community celebrations, to get a feeling of like, what does the general public think about this? And we've had overwhelming support for this. And the Ministry of Transportation initially said, yes, we'll do that, whatever you want. And I was so happy when I left that meeting. And they backtracked since and said, we don't want this to seem like it comes from the government. So we need the evidence to show that it's coming from the people, not from the government. So we'll have postcards available for people to send to their elected representatives. So we're just working on that now. It'll be out in a couple of days. Let's see. The other project, if you've noticed, if you've driven down Highway 16, you'll see there's a billboard. We have a couple of them, two in Smithers, double-sided, and then one heading west from Prince George if you're driving on the right-hand side. We are hope, we are strength. And we are also going to launch an upcoming campaign to get more billboards, and we're going to challenge other communities and organizations to fund their own billboards, to remind people that we are not without our strength and our hope, and that we want to change the narrative around the women that go missing or murdered, is that there's that stereotype, that negative stereotype that we want to overcome. And so that is one of the projects that we're working on. And it was an amazing day when we launched the first one. We had the governing body attend, and that their joy in seeing the billboard was so heartwarming. And on the hard days, that I remember that to keep me going in this work, because those who have lost so much have so much hope in that this is not going to happen again. So I'm going to backtrack a bit as well to explain that in the work for Calls to Justice, Highway 16, and Murdered and Missing Women, is that we're not in this alone, that we have a governing body that is made up of the family members of the murdered and missing, and they are the ones who give us direction, they give us guidance, and they give us advice. Likewise, inside Carey-Secani, we have recruited Indigenous women from each department of the agency to be an internal guiding for us, so that all decisions and plans are made with their guidance and support. So like the billboards, we have a design for banners. So when you drive through communities and you see those beautiful banners on the light fixtures or whatever, we are working on that as well. We're seeking funding. We have a design that's been approved of by the governing body, and we are still just searching for funding for that. More promising is kiosks. So Clucas Lake, and I think there's the one by Decker Lake, that's past Decker Lake, are actually going to be changed out if you ever stop there for a bathroom break or a cigarette break to and from your way to Prince George or Prince Rupert, is at Clucas Lake, there's a kiosk that gives information. So we'll have some big panels there with information and a QR code that will send us to our website so people want more information. And that is almost done. The design and content is almost complete, and you will see those launching as well. So the governing body is made up of family members of the missing and murdered. We have regular meetings online and in person where they provide the direction, guidance, and advice. And one of the things that we're just working on now is the terms of reference for that, just to formalize it a little bit and make sure that people are well represented on that. Another exciting project, which is, I think, the brainchild of Mary as well, because we got the funding before the pandemic, but because of the pandemic, we couldn't carry out the plans, as we were doing a small film project. So we're making a series of 10 films about amazing Indigenous women that tell the story about how they became who they are. So, and this is part of our effort to turn around that negative stereotype about who are Indigenous women, and that we're highlighting some wonderful, amazing people, including had the pleasure of being at the filming of Cindy Blackstock at the Our Children Our Way conference, and I'm really excited looking forward to launching that. Another exciting project that we have is Destiny's Project, and this is education based on prevention. So it is taking young children who may have witnessed some violence in their homes and teaching them skills, giving them education and support. And it's a long-term project where we're going to have a research component of as well, so that we can measure our outcomes. And so looking at, from the very beginning, where do children learn violence and how does it manifest in their lives, and giving them tools to help combat that. And that is, we poached Michelle Jones from another program to build that, and it's going to be based on research, but also it's going to be specifically Carrier-Sicani designed and built. It's going to be designed in conjunction with our community members and our workers to know what works for Carrier-Sicani communities, not what works back in Ontario or anywhere else, but what works here, what will work for our community. Helping along with that is one of the things that has just been completed is UNBC research project that we partnered with Northern Fire to have a comprehensive English language review of all of the literature and programs available, so that to ensure that we take the best of what's working. Feels like, as I read all these projects, I'm like, poor Cassidy, she's got so much work. Our Spirit website, which has been another stalled project, she assures me it is almost ready to launch again. So of course, be looking out for that. You'll get announcements when you follow Carrier-Sicani Family Services, when we'll be able to launch that. And that includes our toolkits for communities when someone goes missing from their community. A core component of the justice program is the collaborative practices. And so we have sort of two parts of that, is our team that has been working with social workers, both CSFS social workers and MCFD social workers, to provide family case planning conferences, family group conferences, and youth planning sessions. And we have a new hire, Jaylene, who's in the room. If you want to stand up and say hi, Jaylene. She's back, for those of you who remember her. She's their new manager of collaborative practice, and she is working with the team and myself and a team from Mediate BC to design and deliver new collaborative practices training that will definitely include mediation as well, but a more broad sense of collaborative practice. And that's important. One of the things that we've really identified, that this collaborative practices team is a real key component of jurisdiction, which is why we all have to work so closely together, because we work in the current system now under the Child Family Community Services Act with MCFD, but we're moving to our own jurisdiction, and then we'll have this in-between period. And so working with the team and with jurisdiction and with Joni to say what makes the most sense in terms of those collaborative practices, and helping transform them and making sure that they are Carrier-Sicani specific. They are what is going to work with our families and our communities. It's not going to just look good on a piece of paper. And the newest program to my department, and my newest hire, if we could have Jill stand up. We have a brand new employee here. She's 5 days on the job. Please give her a warm welcome. She is our new coordinator of the Child and Youth Advocacy Center. This program also has a very long history in CSFS. Mabel reminded me that she started the work way back when. Tracy's had a part of the work. We've had Amy and Mary's team. I'm not sure who else from Mary's team was on it. Sarah. And that is, we're trying to create a place where when harm comes to a child or a youth, that they only have to go to one place to tell their story, and that they are taken care of by services, and that they are looking for legal remedies or justice for that situation, and that it is going to be a safe space that will surround that child or youth and community. And the dream really is to have the headquarters here in Prince George, but that each community would be served by satellite offices as well, so that we also eliminate that need for youth that have been in those vulnerable positions to not have to be displaced or spend long periods away from home to get to be able to tell their story and to get the justice that they need. 2 minutes. And I think that's it. So we have time for questions. Yeah.
There's one question. Chief Maureen, Wet'suwet'en First Nation.
Ms. Julie, would your department be able to assist us in doing a business plan to the First Nations Justice Council to establish a center if we were given, like right now we're at the expression of interest stage, and then if we are chosen in 2024, would CSFS be willing to help us establish that business case to have it in Burns Lake? Or I think there's a template they have online, but I know that you're just hiring 2 lawyers and stuff, but are you guys staffed and able to assist us with that?
Definitely. We're not staffed yet, but definitely by the time you get to that period, we will be. And I'm really excited about the possibility, like actually collaborating and creating. And like I've said, I have referred clients to them. I've worked with them already, and we plan to work together more. And part of that is training as well, because I know that one of the things that when I met with them that they don't really have anything to service families. So their mandate right now is criminal and child welfare as well. And family is a huge gap, and they're looking to fill that. And I think that we can assist them with those training and with the support to get a center going. Oh yes, so our baby lawyer actually will be stationed in Burns Lake, so you will have lots of access. I call him a baby lawyer because he just hasn't been called to the bar yet, so we actually have to wait till he gets called to the bar. But it's so exciting because we get to train him for us. And he is one of us, so it's super exciting. Marilyn said he's already been trained by a carrier woman already. His mother. Anything else?
We have one question online.
So we received this question ahead of time. What are we doing for all of our brothers and sisters missing? And I think you've kind of touched on that, but I just wanted to, if you had anything else you'd like to say on that.
Well, our real hope is that we're going to have enough prevention that it won't happen again. But you're right that currently we are right in sight because there's two missing people. And one of the things that came into sharp highlight for us was the need to be coordinated. And I've already spoken to Marilyn, and we are going to put our heads together, and we are going to develop a comprehensive CSFS plan that will engage our communities and as well as our staff on how do we mobilize quickly to make sure that we utilize all of our resources as best we can and make sure that we have the urgency.
Yeah, quick response.
that it's a quick response, that we're not wondering and bumping into each other, wondering who's sending who, and which, we're learning, and we definitely have some lessons from Marilyn's department on how to react to crises, and that some communities have shown incredible leadership in that already, and we are wanting to learn from them as well.
One more question from the floor. Chief?
Julie, what is the price of the billboards? Like, what's the cost estimate for, like, say somebody wanted to participate in purchasing and putting up a billboard? What's the cost?
It can really vary. The Pattison Group sort of has a monopoly on it, and I've really been, I still can't believe that, the richest man in our province isn't just giving us the space. We're having to rent them. I don't know the exact cost per month, but I can get that to you, and I think we do have it in the campaign that we're building, and it'll be like, for this amount of money you can buy a billboard for this time. And that actually, the hope is that when right now you'll see that they say we are hope, we are strength, and that when a billboard gets put up in your community at your expense, it'll say Cheslada 10 is hope, Cheslada 10 is strength, or Wet'suwet'en 10 is hope. And that's, I think, one of the hopes that we have. Joni, did you have a question, comment?
When we first initially started that proposal for the billboards, and we were looking at the Pattison Group to rent those, Pattison Group was between $750 and $900 a month, so it was quite expensive. But what we were noting is if there's private lands where we could create an agreement, or First Nations, then that brought the amounts down quite a bit, significantly. One of the things that we took into consideration was the upkeep monthly, because we want to keep them relevant, we want to keep them looking good, and honoring those billboards. So that was where the majority of the costs came. But Pattison Group was very expensive, so.
Thanks for that, Joni. And I just want to acknowledge that Joni is one of the people who kept these files afloat in between workers, as well as Cheryl Thomas. I think of her as like one of my steadfast knights over there. She keeps rescuing me with all her information and assistance. And I just want to acknowledge Chief Karina Lewin and your past presidency and all the guidance that you've given us. And I think about all the other incredible leaders that we all stand on the shoulders of in doing this work, including some of, the late Selena and Mary John and some of our elders who have passed on. And as I was listening to everyone present today, that I think that's why I got nervous. It's like, oh, these people doing incredible things. It's a wonderful place to work. Although I have to say, I had brown hair last year when I was here. I'm not sure what happened, but thank you all.
Thank you.